Good afternoon. It's once again 5:30 on a Friday, and this is your host, Danny K. Davis, for the next 25 minutes of Hotline 21. My sidekick, Krista Overton, is not with me. We have been so busy and have had so many things to do, and so many things are going on, especially given the fact that we're right down to almost the end of a primary election season in Chicago. And I hope that everybody have been as busy as I have been. I've had a very busy day. I started out this morning at 8 o'clock. I actually got there a little before 8 o'clock at a candidates forum sponsored by the Business and Civic Council of Oak Park at the Carlton Hotel. We had a tremendous exchange of thoughts and ideas and questions and comments from people, and so I want to thank them for putting that on and for having all of the candidates there. In my particular race, I left there and dashed back to my office, had a great meeting with the president of Chicago State University, Dr. Scott, and we talked about some of everything, but we really talked about how to make Chicago State the kind of institution that all of us want it to be. And I'll just put a little shout out. If you're looking for a place to acquire some higher education, Chicago State would be a place to do it. I got a master's degree from Chicago State University. My wife got her bachelor's degree from Chicago State University before she then went on to Roosevelt University and got her master's degree with all A's. I am so proud of her until, of course, she's retired and does not work anymore. She's actively engaged and involved. But she did spend about 35 years as a public school teacher, ending her career at the George W. Collins High School, where she was the senior sponsor and chairman of the business education department and whatever you do. But Chicago State is a great place to go. And if you're looking for higher ed, and I think they've got the third lowest tuition in the state of Illinois. So check them out. Makes a lot of sense. I know we got a call, so I'm going to go right to the phone. Caller, are you there?
Good evening, Dr. Davis.
Yes, sir.
7th District. Last Tuesday, when I was looking at a Super Tuesday on TV, and one thing that I found that was very, very disturbing at the as Vice President, I can't believe Biden, when some people tried to rush the stage, and I found that very disturbing, because when something like that happens, innocent people get hurt, and things could have turned around totally different for Biden. If he would have knocked that person to the side because he was a woman or something like that, then people would say, well, he shouldn't put his hands on a woman. But people forget that what have happened when people try to rush in terms of, like I said, I'm a little bit of a historian, they forget about Robert Kennedy. They forget about some other people during their campaign that got hurt when people rush a stage. And I was very disturbed in finding out that Biden, I thought he would have Secret Service. Because he was the vice president, he still would have that. And I just find things like that very disturbing. If you run off on a baseball field, isn't that a federal crime? But yet, people can rush a major political situation and they don't face no type of repercussions. I just find that very, very disturbing.
Well, we would hope and that, we're known as one of the most civil big nations, especially in the world. I'm saying we have political debate, we have political discourse, people disagree, but we don't generally, as a rule, become violent or offensive with it. I'm saddened to know that that happened. I hope it will not be happening again, and I hope that we are equipped and set up in a way that we can deal effectively with it. We ought to know how to disagree without being so disagreeable. And I know that people get angry, and you know, uh, I was at one thing today where the lady sort of expressed that she was pretty disgusted because we had two old white men as the people to choose from. Of course, she was white herself, and I guess half the people in the room probably were senior citizens. And, you know, I kind of know a little bit about the history of this country, and I do agree that it has been racist, it has been sexist. Women have been disavowed, in many instances abused, and certainly misused. Did not get the right to vote in this country until 100 years ago, though more than 100 years now. And that came as a result of women's suffrage. So I can understand women being angry. I'm angry too. My ancestors came here and they didn't come voluntarily. The conditions under which I have seen my people suffer. I grew up in rural America at a time when all kind of atrocities were going on and taking place. There was conversations about people having been lynched. Finally, thank God, we got an anti-lynching law passed a couple weeks ago that makes lynching a federal crime. We named it after Emmett Till. It's the Emmett Till anti-lynching bill. Congressman Bobby Rush was the leader on that. I always had a great deal of affinity for Emmett Till because I was the same age. And when Emmett Till was 14, I was 14. He was 14 in Mississippi. I was 14 in a neighboring state, Arkansas. And we were so afraid of Mississippi, we didn't know what to do. My grandfather lived in Mississippi, and of course, we would go to visit during the summertime. That is, my mother's father lived in a place called Sidon, Mississippi, near Greenwood. And we'd be so glad when we got out of Mississippi back across the bridge. So I understand some of these things, many of them, and yet levels of civility. We can disagree and make decisions. As a matter of fact, someone asked me how I felt about the president, and I told them that I disagreed with the president a great deal of the time, but I still recognized the office of president, and I treat that office with a level of respect. So we've got these elections going on. If anybody want to talk about who they supporting and who they not supporting and all those kind of things, we're prepared to do that. So caller, go right ahead.
Yeah, how you doing, Connie Davis?
James, I'm doing fine. How are you?
Yeah, Okay, I don't know what to say. People, church people, some of these, like Donald Trump, they can buy that virus. That virus ain't for sale. God is in control. God got the last word on Donald Trump and some of the other, and some of the preachers and ministers. And they trying to for Chinatown. They can't stop it. Only God can stop it, Cousin David.
Well, let me ask you this. I agree that God has the last word and all the word. What do you think God want us to do?
He the one to stop it because he got more power than Donald Trump now, and everybody else. He got more power than me. And
Yeah, I think he's got more power than anybody, but I'm asking, what do you think he want us to do?
try to get try to stop all this necessary stuff and all this violence and all this other stuff because it's still getting out of hand.
All
And
right. But he
it's
would
still
want
getting
us
out
to
of
be
hand.
involved, right?
Yep.
He would want us to vote, right?
Yep.
He would want us to know who to vote for in terms of our best interests, right?
Yep.
So he want us to do his part, do our part, and he'll
Yep.
do his part. And as those
Uh-huh.
parts come together, we'll get the best decisions. Would you agree with
Yep.
that?
Yep.
All right. Well, James,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I
Okay, y'all have
appreciate
a
your
good
call.
weekend. Okay.
All right. As always, we appreciate James and his position and point of view. And now we'll go right back to the phone and take our next caller.
Yes, Congressman, it's a great day to be alive on God's green earth. But you just said something. I tried that, but I just can't respect it. This man had took office, and I don't know. I never seen anything like this in my life. But you know, what they say, you live longer enough, you will see things of this nature. But listen. Anybody who don't vote, don't call. Don't even look at them. Don't even walk the other way. Say goodbye. But I think what we need to do is, if people didn't, I heard the talk, his forum yesterday, and I just don't understand what people think. Is money more important than anything? Wall Street, the stock markets and stuff like that. I don't care nothing about that. Money is just good for some reason. Put a roof over your head, feed yourself, and care of your family. The rest of the stuff is really nothing. It's really nothing. Money is not everything. But I promise you, when this duck leaves that place, he gonna be richer he gonna be richer before he came in there. He gonna have a lot of money, and trust me, it's all about money. Everything's all about money. But I don't know. Uh, did I vote for him? Heck no. I vote straight Democrat. And I was a Republican. I think I will vote for the man on the moon, or anything besides him. But again, I don't want to talk about nobody because people talk about me and probably talk about you. But see, I don't care what people say. They talked about Jesus Christ. I don't care what people say. Well, one thing I know for sure is wrong and right. Is wrong turn into a right, something is wrong. So let me get out the air so I hear your response. And also, thanks for taking the call. Yeah.
I thank you so much, and we appreciate your call. And I certainly agree. You know, my mother used to tell us that right is right if nobody is right, and wrong is wrong if everybody is wrong. And so she say that any way you cut it, you're either one or the other. You're either right or you're wrong. And if you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. And all we could say was, yes, ma'am, mother dear. Caller, are you there?
Dr. Davis, you brought up religion. Usually I don't talk about religion, but you brought something up. You asked us what God would want us to do. First of all, God gave us free will. And one of the gifts he gave us was our brain. And he wanted us to use our brain. And he wanted us to be, in whatever I have read, the Bible, the Quran, or the Torah, he wanted us to be good to our fellow human beings. And that's what he wants us to do, and try to help our brother if we can. That's what he wanted us to be good to ourselves and to be good to others. And whatever book you read, that's what it's all about. He wants you to develop yourself as a person of good conscience. And whatever, like I said, that's what religion is all about in terms of self-developing, about making you better. That's all I want to say. Take care.
And do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. If you can live by the golden rule, you don't have to be, you remember when the rich man asked, since you mentioned religion, what he had to do to inherit the kingdom and all of that. Well, I tell you, if you do unto others as you would have them do unto you, that's the best rule I think you could have. I was mentioning some of the things that I'd done today. After the other things, then we went to Chinatown. And I went to Chinatown with a group of people. As a matter of fact, many of them were Chinese American citizens, but the Consul General from the People's Republic of China, of course, was there. State Senator Antonio Munoz. We were looking for the alderman of the 25th Ward, Alderman Lopez. But we had other citizens, and we met at Mr. Sam Maw's restaurant. But we went to say to people, we don't think they have to shun Chinatown because of the virus. That, yep, we know that there was some origin in China, but that does not mean that every person from China or every community that has a Chinese heritage necessarily you're going to pick up the virus if you're there. And so we went, had a good, solid press conference outside the Barbecue King House Chinese restaurant on Archer Street. And I think everybody who went are very pleased. I want to thank all of those who came and shared and participated. And it was just a good time to say we had the Chicago Department of Public Health. One of the nurses was there, and she explained what people ought to do to try and make sure that you are protecting yourself as much as possible from the coronavirus. And she says, act like it's flu season. Wash your hands as often and try to make sure that, any potential germs that you might be carrying. Don't touch, your mouth and your eyes and so forth, if you can avoid it with your hand. Cover yourself if you have to cough or sneeze or whatever. Don't be a purveyor of any germs that you might have. And that's what we can do. I remember saying at one point, if we all hang together and cooperate with each other, we can diminish the impact of this virus. Ultimately, we're going to be able to lick it. So I want to thank the governor and commend the governor of the state of Illinois, as well as the Illinois Department of Public Health, the mayor in the city of Chicago and the health department, Cook County Health people under the direction of President Tony Preckwinkle for all that they're doing. And if we all do what we can, I think we will be all right. Carla, are you there?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
I would like to talk about a doctor lying on you.
Okay.
And when you are an employee of the government and you on workers' comp, and it's his word against your word.
No, we don't have any direct, I'm saying I don't have any direct control over any aspects of providing government services. What we do is make the law. And of course, it's the executive branch of government that has the authority to carry out the law. And that is the people who work under the supervision of the president. They're the ones who actually implement the law. No,
Yeah,
go right ahead.
The problem.
No, I'm listening.
Because I'm still in a state of shock in my life where I've been on there since 14 years. And I abide by every rule that there was. And this doctor never examined me, but he told me he wrote an evaluation. And I was terminated.
I tell you what, if you would call my office on Monday, and the number is 773-533-7520, and ask for either myself or Miss Marquita Smith.
Mr. Davis, can you please repeat that number for me again?
It's 773-533-7520.
Thank you.
And ask for me, or you can ask for Miss Marquita Smith, and we'll look into the situation and see how we might be able to help you.
Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you so very much, and I'll give that number again for anybody. Our number is 773-533-7520. And if you've got any issue or any problem that deals in any way with the operation of the federal government, please give us a call and we'll try to work through that with you. And we'd be pleased to do so. Our time is winding down, and I guess, this is Women's Month, and so do everything that you can to highlight the contributions of women. Do everything that you can to keep raising issues about the inequities, the lack of equality that women experience in our country, and how we have to keep pushing forward. There are a lot of women who've expressed concern that we're down to, in the Democratic primary, only 2 people basically left. Yeah, in a real sense. There are 2 men and no women. And of course, I started out with a woman as my candidate, and she got out of the race because she couldn't raise the money to keep up. The last presidential election, I supported a woman. I supported Hillary Clinton all the way. And so let me tell you, ladies, I'm with you. I'm looking forward to the day when we will have a female president of the United States of America. And when we do, we'll just be catching up with a lot of other countries. It's been a great afternoon. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed being with you. Make sure that you vote and vote and vote. Know who you're voting for, why you're voting for them, and I'll see you next week. Have a good week.